William Morrow and HarperAudio present A Kiss in the Moonlight, a Gambler's Daughter's novel by Cathy Maxwell. Performed by Justine Eyre. To the best strategist I know, Cheryl Etchison, I am wealthy in my friends. Chapter 1. Refuse an offer of marriage with grace and great delicacy. The rules according to Dara. Because even boorish men are fragile creatures. Tweedy's interpretation. 1817. Hurry, 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 Dara Lanscar chided as she scrambled her way up the wooded hill, trampling bluebells in her mad dash to reach Wilson House. I'm caught, her sister Elise shouted. Elise was a year younger than Dara's 21. It had been years since either of them had run this hard. Dara turned to see Elise trying to unsnag her hem from the dead wood of a fallen limb. Tear it, she ordered. We will repair it later. We have to stop Squire Davies. I'm trying, Elise snapped back. Huffing her impatience, Dara stumbled back down toward her sister, her own skirts in danger of tangling. She deftly unsnagged Elise's hem before grabbing her hand. Run! Together, the women charged toward the crest of the hill before stopping to catch their breaths. Below them, the white walls of Wilson, their family home shone bright against the dark green of the forest, and their fears had not been unfounded. Squire Davies' bony chestnut was being walked by a stable hand. We're too late, Elise said. We can't think that way, Dara snapped. We are going to save Gwendolyn. On that vow, she grabbed her skirts up with one hand and practically dragged her sister down the slope toward the house with the other. Now she understood why her cousin Richard's wife, Caroline, had insisted she and Elise walk a huge hamper to the crofters on the other side of the property. Richard and Caroline had not shown any interest in the crofters since they moved into Wilton almost a year ago, when they'd claimed the property for themselves. Of course, all of this was their father's fault. Captain Sir John Lanscar had left his 3 daughters in the care of their grandmother while he travelled with the military and later as a gambler. His vices were well known to his daughters. They had enjoyed growing up with Gram at Wilson and had lived for those moments when their father would pop in, as he liked to call it. He would shower them with attention, make them feel special, and then leave again. Only he had stopped returning, or sending letters, or money. Upon Graham's death, and learning that it had been close to 2 years since anyone had heard from Captain Sir John, Richard Lanscar had gleefully moved his family into Wilton. He claimed their father must be deceased, and the authorities had agreed. Why else had no one heard from him? And though Dara and her sisters protested, they found themselves living in their childhood home as the guests of their cousin. Yes, there had been the admonishment that Richard should see to the well-being of Sir John's 3 daughters, but pigs would fly before their cousin thought of anyone other than himself. Nor was this hamper gambit his first subterfuge. The ever-astute Dara had been wary of him from the beginning. She might be the middle sister, but she was her sister's defender, their strategist. She had promised Gram on her deathbed that she would do all she could for her sisters, and she'd meant those words. She was not afraid to butt heads with Richard. It was her responsibility to do so. Nor would she support his plans to marry Gwendolyn off to some belligerent, barrel-shaped squire with 6 children. Gwendolyn was made for better things than the likes of Davies, and so Dara had told Richard. In fact, Dara had a better plan for herself and her sisters, and she didn't want Gwendolyn to accept Squire Davies' proposal before hearing her idea. Oh no, she did not. Reaching the house's front steps, she dropped her skirt, shooting a scowl at the ogling stable hand holding the squire's horse, and charged in.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?